All right. Hello. Welcome. This is Alexander Wales. What are we doing today? More writing. I've started numbering the streams because I always like renumber them when I export to YouTube. So this is stream 23 of the Worth the Candle Exclusions document. And today... today is going to be Pendleham. Before I do that, I need to, real quick, add in a provisional picture for this one. I've been doing the AI art thing. I'm going to briefly switch this to light mode. No. Because the pictures just are not working with light mode. Or with my dark mode. It's not actually inverted. They invert some of the colors, I think. But this is what I have for this picture so far. I like this a lot, just because it's so weird and gross, and it is a weird, gross zone. But it's also not. I don't know. It's got that creepy body horror vibe going on. I also like this little man in his little flesh hood. I do have to say, there's something... I was staring at this picture last night. I think there's something very vaguely clitoral about this. And maybe that's just me. But that's not going to dissuade me from using it. Maybe that's even a bonus. Turn dark mode back on. That was the picture. You've seen it. It was great. We'll see when I get done how I feel. All this text here is not any part of the actual entry. Because this is all this is the quest description. This is from Caredall, which is ink and ardor from the world building document. It's chapter 221 that they visit Pendleham in story. And then this is some text from that chapter. Most of what I'm going for is this section. Maybe. So the transhumanist thing, Juniper has some differences for myself. It's not a strict self-insert, but that is still something I believe to be true about myself, that I would consider myself a transhumanist. But I'm transhumanist in the sense that... Claw and Clock's not ink and ardor. Ink and ardor was conjoinery. You're right. I consider myself a transhumanist in the sense that I very often feel like I am trapped in a stupid meat body. Speaking of which, I need to do my hand exercises real quick, but I'll be talking during that. I'm a brain trapped in a meat body. That whatever, it's fine. I don't have a bunch of body image problems. They're just certain things that I'm just I would change this if it were an easy thing to change. I think that it would be great if people could change those things about their bodies. I'm really not so hot on a lot of the current technology, and I'm not optimistic about future technology either. But part of that is because I am relatively old, and I was much more transhumanist. I considered myself much more of a transhumanist when I was a teenager, when I thought, we're going to be able to replace limbs and stuff, and I think I understand the technical challenges of that a lot better, and that escaping the meat bodies is not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be super expensive. There's going to be lots of problems with it. Even if it's not the cyberpunk, trapped in a limbs as a subscription service type model or whatever. Even if we avoid any of the cyberpunk stuff, there's still going to be lots of problems with it. and it's not going to happen on any fast time scale. Okay, that's not really necessary to know for Pendleham. This needs to be, and I did conclude that it was minor, which makes sense because people do live there. And it's labeled, I believe this one needs to be labeled not in person. Well, maybe it does. I'm going to double check that because I think Pendleham might be the one that is... Yeah, lots of conceptual overlap, as pointed out helpfully by Juniper right here. Lots of conceptual overlap with Felseed, but the point of Felseed is not transhumanism. Okay. Also, a note there that it is less gross than the Doris Finch exclusion zone, which is fine. So yeah, this is our transhumanist biopunk. We can just call this the PD, easy, personal, no, public, no. Call it the PH, the Fez. That's not meaningless, but the codes don't need to they don't need to be meaningful. It's good if they are. Okay, we're gonna just have that be. We're gonna hop right into history. Try and get this one done. This was in story, and had relatively more thought put into it because it was in story than other exclusion zones. So in theory, it's faster. Okay, so of all the biological ones, we have creationism, which is no, you didn't miss much. Just talked about transhumanism a little bit and my feelings about it. My wife, strangely, for not being at all in the rationalist or science fictional spheres that much, much more of a transhumanist than I am. She's like, yeah, I would just lop off my arm and replace it with a robot arm. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. She's much more technically minded than I am, so I guess that makes sense. She has implants, like one of those magnet implants in one hand, so she can place screws there when she's working on hardware, and then she's got a different implant that's RFID that goes into the meat of the, not the palm, but I don't know, somewhere in there. And then a bunch of tattoos as well. But I look at that kind of stuff and I'm like, yeah, I'm a transhumanist, and I just feel no compulsion to do any of the actual physical changes or whatever. Sorry, I'm just writing this out for myself. Do I think these four are a coherent, not a coherent set, but are distinct enough? I do worry about Fleshsmiths and Felseed. I actually was thinking about not including Felseed in the document. Or have him only in brief. It's just, like, Felseed is such a major... Felseed is such a major, like, story point, and it's like this cringy edgelord shit that I don't think in an exclusions document it's going to be hard to get across, like, what I'm trying to do there, like what point it has in the story. It would be hard for it not to read as just like this grim derp thing. I mean, it was hard for it not to read as that in the story, that it was just this like overly burdensome darkness to it. So I was thinking about not even including Felseed in the document. It's debatable whether it's after that. I mean, like, Fleshsmith's in-story is closed by it. I think what I'll do is... Oh, no. It could be that, like, the book's taken back and then the book is hit by an anti-mimetic effect. Yeah, that would work. I might just remove Felseed, but that is a good idea. So I might do that. I'm very willing to take good ideas when I see them. But yeah, it's a difficult one that I don't really want to like have to go through a bunch of work trying to, like, I don't want to like tone it down, and I also don't want this like clinical distance that I don't think would help that much with making it less derpy. Like, there's a reason it's like that in the story, but then translated into the exclusions docket, I just think it would have a hard time working in the way that I would want it to work. So yeah, I will probably figure out some way to not include it, which means, in theory, okay, I'm not going to include. I'm not going to switch this to not doing. No, I will switch this to not doing. I will not switch this to anything. I will not switch this to anything until I have a very brief entry for it. How would a war between Felseed and the Fleshsmiths look like? He would just kill them all. There would be no consequent or no contest between them. It'd be like that with Felseed in almost anything. But in this specific case, Felseed would just absolutely destroy them because they're in his ballpark. This is probably the wrong version of mage, because a mage has a specific meaning within Worth the Candle that I probably get confused with a lot. But I'm going to leave it for now. So yeah, this one should be easier than I struggled a lot yesterday. This one should be easier, but it is also constrained by having stuff in the story that I don't want to contradict. And thankfully it's pretty vague in the story, because I reread the chapter yesterday when I maybe should have been doing other stuff. Oh, a fun fact about my workflow is that I just posted the Early Birds chapter for Dungeons, and that means that it is essentially my Friday right now. Because I have to post. It takes like 10 minutes to post to Railroad once the chapter is done and like edits and are done and stuff like that. This is basically my Friday. It happens on Wednesday. And then Thursday is also my Friday. And Friday is my Friday, and Saturday is my Monday. At least in terms of how these things feel to me. This is 194. This is early Second Empire. Okay. I'm going to do a second search for Fleshsmith because I'm about to type something that is very possibly contradicted by the text. Oh, God. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Nosker and Ignosker. Those are just means noble and ignoble, which is like high class, low class distinction. Which will probably be included in the entry. Okay. I don't think there is an origin for Felseed. I don't think there's a stated origin. I think I said that in the AMA that I don't. It's I've said in writing this on these streams and in writing this talk a lot that I try not to add things if I don't think that there's like something there, that there's something compelling or interesting about adding things. I think for Felseed, like a Felseed origin story is just would subtract rather than add. But I don't like, it's something I've thought about, but well, no, like it's just the DM deciding he had to exist. Felseed is a manifestation of Juniper's anger, right? Like that is Juniper's anger and darkness, I guess. And like if you just reduce it to DM fiat, I think that also takes away from it, like, because that's not like, that's either going one level too far or one level not far enough. Like, why would the DM decide he had to exist? Has to exist because of this, because of Juniper. So it would be better to like unnest the levels and just say that he exists because Juniper dreamed him up. You know, like the Juniper did actually have some influence on the world of Arb before he came there. Like if I had to do an origin story, it would be from that, coming in from that direction, which I think would be better, maybe. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's ever going to be like stated. I don't think Felseed needs an origin story. Like I think that like the metaphorical appearance of Felseed being tied so closely to like it would reduce the metaphor, maybe. And yeah, there's not going to be like I've already decided I'm not doing it. I'm just trying to articulate why my feelings on why I think that's artistically appropriate to have that just be an open question. Okay, continuing on. I mean, if you have headcanon ideas, that's great. Okay, Pendleham. Is placed there. Here, we'll say that's the Jesh. We'll say it's on the Jesh. Okay. say in previously inhospitable lands. I'm going to say Fleshsmiths don't get any actual magic. So they... Well, okay, they don't get magic, but they could steal, like, a magical organ. If that makes sense. But that's just going to be implicit here, I believe. That's, like, the kind of question I want to have an answer to. I don't feel the need to answer within the text, because it's just... You end up with these clunky lines describing... Like, there's already, like, several sentences here about limitations of the ability. I don't want to add more to that. Okay. You know, they say when writing that you should, like, kill your inner editor because it, like, slows you down and, like, stops you up, but I cannot handle that. I can't handle, like, the little red and blue squiggles. I mean, yeah, there's lots of here. We'll just add this to dictionary. Unfortunately, you can't just, like... What I really want for this is to just have, like, a project dictionary. It would be so much better for writing to just be like, Fleshsmith is appropriate in Worth the Candle and, like, in everything within this folder, but it's not appropriate elsewhere. Because I added... it's Heshnal Elic. I added Heshnal to the personal dictionary, and there are certain words that's like, oh, did you mean Heshnal? It's like, no. I'm working on dungeons. I'm working on a totally different thing. There is software, yes. And it's worse for workflow for me. I do have a copy of Scrivener, which is one, like, the biggest one. It's from a a company called Literature and Latte. That's all they do is they work on this one specific project. Scrivener is I just don't find the workflow as good, especially um, for the model that I use, which is Patreon support and stuff like that. This actually would be a really good use case um, for Scrivener, and it's possible I'm gonna spend the like tedious time to put it into Scrivener, because then it's like easier to move. These can be like individual chapters or whatever. They can be moved around a little easier and have like dedicated pictures, and then I can generate an ebook version of this. I might do that, but my workflow is write it in Google Docs, post it on Patreon for early birds, and like get feedback there, and then post on Royal Road. And so my current workflow like doesn't really work with Scrivener, because I would essentially need to have a one-click export to Google Docs or like type thing, which would be great. There's like a couple programming things that I want to get done, or that would be great to be done, to just like, cause if you can knock 5 minutes out of your or like 5 to 10 minutes out of your week, that's good. There are plugins. There is a way to do. Well, okay, so there's plugins, and then there are also workflows that you can build for yourself. I don't know. I don't want to spend time. I don't want to spend like 5 hours on that. I can write 5,000 words in 5 hours. I can write like almost a chapter in 5 hours. I can't, because I run out of juice pretty early on. But no, I've just never wanted to spend the time. And playing around with plugins always feels like wasted time unless I can get something I'm really happy with. I did check around a couple of years ago. Maybe there's something now, but the overlap between programmers and writers is not as large as I might hope that it would be. So programmers write lots of programming tools, and so programmers have a lot of that stuff. Writers write prose, and so don't have a lot of plugins. There are some. I'll try to track it down maybe after the stream, because I don't like complaining about things and then like not even searching if there's like an option for it. But that'll be after the stream. I definitely had workflow problems on Glimwarden, which was the last thing I did in Scrivener. Just the like generating PDFs, having to post those PDFs to Patreon. It just there was like, I had added so much overhead for myself, and it really was like killing my desire to write. The Fleshsmiths became more extreme in what they were willing to do. Hey, is this Jurassic Park time? It's not. Unfortunately, this is like a really good one for Jurassic Park. I just don't feel like I feel like this stuff needs to be. If this stuff weren't already in Worth the Candle, this would be Jurassic Park time. Yeah, it'd be a great time for Jurassic Park. um, with this came a shift in philosophy. Steady is a fine word. Maybe even fine in this context, but I feel like there's here we'll say well tested. What are Epsom salts? What is that? Magnesium sulfate. Is Epsom salt a real world thing? I don't mind using real world things in Worth Candle, but okay, whatever. We're going on. I want an actual Jurassic Park. I want a full Jurassic Park entry where someone wanted to build a amusement park that spared no expense and it went horribly wrong. I want a full Jurassic Park. And I need to look through this list. I'm not going to look through this list now. But oh right, we just oh right, okay, that's called Manifest. I don't know which of these is going to be Jurassic Park. It might possibly be Carolism, but Juniper doesn't know where Carolism is. I'm trying not to change Worth the Candle to fit the Exclusions doc, which is a constraint that I'm placing on myself. But it is definitely possible. You know what? We could do Jurassic Park here. I'm just gonna make. Me saying that I'm not going to do things, then immediately doing those things is just how it goes. We're going to do Jurassic Park for Psionics, I think. Because it's like Psionic creations run amok. And I was like, yes, that can just be our Jurassic Park. So, Carolism comes from the name Lewis Carroll, so it's related to Juniper's Dark Period in some way. I think it's a little underspecified, but I will wait until I get to that, and I will figure something out for it. It needs to be in line with Momarath or Momrath, or however you personally say it. And in line with the Borogroves and some of that other stuff. Psionics. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and specifically edit that one line because it has been causing me no amount of problems, or an extreme amount of problems. No small amount of problems. Yeah, that's the phrase. But yeah, I think I'm just going to commit to going back and editing that one line. It's literally just to bring it in line with its exclusion stock. Because having to write around like a single brief mention. And you know what? What's dumb about it is I have like that full list of excluded skills, and they're excluded skills that are not in the exclusion stock because they're like, they never made an exclusion zone for whatever reason. So I'm just gonna commit to like just replacing that single line, which is a pain in the butt to do because it needs to be replaced in. It doesn't need to be replaced in the ebook because that ebook's not out yet, I think. It needs to be replaced on Royal Road. It needs to be replaced on Arc of Our Own. But I will have that as to do. It's so the specific line. I'm going to point it out. It's so this right here. This is like Juniper thinking about this thing, and then he mentalism and psionics also fit the bill. So there are like 5 magics mentioned in the single. It's actually 2 lines, but so these would be just replaced with other stuff. There's a full list. Like I have a full list of excluded skills and excluded magic, and just have stuff. So like psionics. He can't guess that psionics is an exclusion, or is the exclusion zone that he's standing in, if it exists in the exclusions document. We can also have this not be called psionics in the exclusions list. Like, this doesn't... Bacon Type probably do this name. Old Grumsh. So this could be like not called psionics. It could be clearly psionics, but it could not be called psionics within the world of Worth the Candle, only on Juniper's character sheet. That's one way to reconcile it, but I'm mostly just going to make the exclusion stock, and then I'm going to come back in and like this reference to mentalism, reference to psionics, reference to conjoinery, and uniquelomancy. Those are just going to get replaced with a different excluded skill that is not on the exclusions list. I don't think I can let... Like, I didn't want to edit Worth the Candle for this exclusion stock at all, but I don't think I can let it interfere with my ability to write these things so much by just having, like, a one-off reference. I think it's artistically unclean to go back in and bring the main text in line with this supplemental text, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Mostly because it's just like making a headache for myself. Is this... Is this one example enough? I think, and I hope that it is. Of what I mean by... Actually, I'm gonna add a little bit. Yeah, I do so love gaslighting people. And just be like, yeah, no, it was that way all the time. I didn't change a line. Like, that's just your faulty memory. Gaslighting could be one of the replacement skills. That would be funny. That would actually be very funny. Okay. Here, we're going to say full half. Oh, it's actually called gas licking. I don't know if you knew that. It's not gaslighting. It's gas licking. It comes from an old movie called Gaslick. You know, I made that joke to my wife, and she did not even so much as crack a smile. She just gave me this, like, dead-eyed stare. I did that thing again where I just did a default. I'm not going to talk about the gender stuff this time, but I did default male there, just without really thinking about it. I definitely should have rolled a dice, or a die. Sorry, rolled some dice, but I did not. We're not going to say elites. If you roll the dice but it comes out male anyway, then it's male. Yeah, or you roll again. Keep rolling till you get female. I mean, the point is mostly not to just have it overwhelmingly male for no reason. And, like, is flesh smithing a more... Is it, like, a male-dominated profession? I don't know. I've always felt like... This is probably off base, but I've always felt like women should be more inclined towards transhumanism, because they have to deal with the, like, body stuff more than men do. Like, you know, menstruation and giving birth and stuff. Like, I mostly don't need to worry about my body. There's some, like, gross stuff, you know. There's, like, gross biological stuff, but, I don't, like, get cramps or anything. Unless I've had tacos. I don't know if imperialization is the correct counterpart to nationalization, but I'm going with it. We're going to say this is like a very... Oh, I do need to double check this. Right. Okay. Oh, a discipline shared with it. I was like, what? Why is it saying this is claw and clocks and not bone and flesh? Okay, that's fine. That doesn't contradict anything. I just wanted to double check that. This gives it like 20 years to spread. I guess that's fine. Fleshsmith's Guild? And yeah, I said last time that this was EL, but I think I just had a typo in one place, and that's what I looked at to see how it was spelled. So this is the standardized spelling for Pendleham. I fixed that off stream. So thanks for whoever pointed that out. I think it. Including. Well, so I'm thinking about Uther's. I was thinking earlier as I was writing this about Uther's relationship to flesh smithing. Oh, I got a direct message, which is Daystar Eld. Sorry, I just gotta reply to this real quick. I'm going on a trip where I think I will be seeing him. Okay, sorry. Sorry for that brief intermission. Claw and Clocks always has a... I think the RDLLE, the riddle... I always call him riddle. I think the riddle acts are descended from a different set of acts in the Second Empire. I'm gonna see, but I think that's a Third Empire or Empire of Common Cause thing, not a. Oh, okay, here let me read this. Research deemed likely to lead to exclusion. Oh, dates back to the early. Okay, fine, fine. Yeah. Right. This is why I double check all the time. Yeah, and yeah, flesh smithing would combo well with soul magic. I feel like they need a different. Well, no, they don't need a different name. You think talking about gender could add something here? I think it's the kind of thing that can go in a note. Because like I do find that compelling in a way, the body stuff we deal with, like that lameness of having a body. I will consider it. I think it makes more sense in the context of a note. So we'll see. As why am I having trouble with this? Fleshsmithing as a core field of study. Fleshsmithing. Okay, so the rule. Maybe I'm gonna put it in there, but. The rule that I'm going with is that it does not allow you to adopt species-specific magics unless those come specifically from magical organs. And I feel like... Here, I'm going to see if there's a reference... Ooh, I feel like there's a reference in here somewhere, but I'm not going to search for it now. That there are certain you can't get the magic of another species, but you can get the organs of another species, and there's a difference between a magic that is keyed to a species through the soul, and there is and like just an organ that produces magic, because you can take the organ and you can put that organ into yourself and replace your own organ, but you can't change the species as marked on your soul. That's excluded. Raven species have extra-dimensional organs. Those are a species-specific magic. Also, I don't know how you'd get them out. It's one of those, like, what counts as magic questions. So, but like, my short answer is yes, you can sometimes do it depending on the specifics of it. I really do feel like there is a passage somewhere in Worth the Candle about it that gives that exact answer to the question. Doesn't... I feel like Amaryllis... Oh yeah, she has like heterochromia because she gets an eye from a different species that can see well. I feel like there's a passage somewhere. I'm not going to track it right down because I'm fairly certain that I'm being consistent on that, but it's one of those things that depends on the specific implementation. I like that line. Chapter 91. Like her veins were engorged with electricity. That's neat. I know I'm tooting my own horn, but it's one of those things I read and I'm like, yeah, I like this guy's stuff. It happens rarely with writing that I like come across something I read and I'm like, yeah, I like that. In like 5 years' time, I will be able to read Worth the Candle, having forgotten a lot of it, and get some enjoyment from reading it, I think. I hope. Like, maybe I'll hate it, but well, we'll see. Healing properties, there was much interest. Yeah, it takes a long time to read Worth the Candle, front to cover, or front to back, start to finish. I mean, because it's like, you know, it's like it's 4 Doorstopper novels. It's as long as the entire Harry Potter series plus some. It's very long. It's very long. Took me 4 years to write. But I will read through it cover to cover, not doing any like editing or you know, continuity checks or anything like that. Just like reading for pleasure. I will do that someday. I have not done that yet. I read through, or try to read through as much as I can for editing, but it's like, I also just don't want to do. I have so much other stuff I'd rather be doing than that. And I also, like, for the ebooks, hire an editor who goes through and tries to fix all the minor stuff that really needs to be fixed, and not the style stuff or the other stuff. Riddle Axe. I think they need a different name. It's like the Imperial bands date back to the early days of the Second Empire. Say ERA. ERA is too short though. Led to the creation of the And are they Riddle Axe? Yes. And I am including this here partly as a explainer for people who are reading the Exclusions doc, but not the have not read the world building doc or just don't remember. Research deemed likely to lead to exclusion. What do you want me to change that to? You want me to put a space after the apostle? Oh, God, idiot features. Okay, features. Okay, so this is an personed exclusion zone. Here, I'm gonna just delete this. Oh, not the note part. This is where we're going with this whole thing, and then I'm gonna get all of this. We don't have a note about pustule mages. We should have a note about pustule mages. We should have a note up here. When did pustule mages join the Vervanium? They would have joined by this point. Worked in synchronicity, is that good English? Probably. Been going for an hour 13. I am going to try to do 2 today. I will try to do 2, and if I need to go like 2.5 hours, then whatever. I don't have a chapter due till Monday, so I'm not going to stress on dungeons. I have started that chapter. And I like have a plan there, so I'm like, if you don't have a plan, you're screwed. Like if you like have a chapter coming up and you're like, I have no idea what this chapter is about. That has happened to me when I like need it not to move I need it not to be like a heavy plot chapter, just for pacing, because like Dungeons has a very sedate pace, which is something I know annoys people, but I like decided that from the outset and have been trying to do it that way, and it's worked out in terms of maintaining the work's popularity and stuff. But like I'm very happy with Dungeons now. I wasn't that happy when I started, because I was like, why aren't more people reading this? I was like, why this Patreon was on like a slow downward trend. Now it's on a slow upward trend, which is good. But I was like trying to figure that out. But now I'm happy with where Dungeons is. But I'm gonna try to get a second thing done, because I don't need to worry about Dungeons. And I always call it Dungeons, but this used to be about Dungeons, even though they do spend like 1/10 of their time in Dungeons. Okay, that's a fine digression into pustule magic. Juniper does mention pustule mages there. And as I write this, I know this is technically history. Well, not immediately apparent. And what did we call this? We called this the Fez. Used part. Oh, about Dungeons. Sorry, my brain immediately discarded that topic. I will digress briefly. It was called This Used to Be About Dungeons because the original reason that I picked that title was because there's a tendency for web serials to like divert from their main thing, to become about something else entirely. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay from the start. This used to be about dungeons, and then it'll start out being about dungeons, and maybe it'll drift off and become something else. And it really has not drifted that much. Like, the dungeons are still there. I don't know that it's primarily a book about dungeons at this point. Like, maybe it's been overtaken by the character stuff. Maybe too much by the character stuff. Maybe the other plots in play are more prominent than the dungeon stuff, but it was at least partly aspirational that there would come a point where I also had the plan to, taper off the dungeon stuff. I did drift off from it, and I do find that funny, but I also think that that's a good title because it's intriguing and it gives you some sense that this is not actually a story about dungeons. Yeah, the dungeons are still a thing because they're still interesting. There's a lot of stuff I like about dungeon chapters, and they've maintained a pretty steady 10%, or roughly about that. I don't know that this used to be about dungeons will ever stop having dungeons in it. I guess I have everything planned out until like the end of book. It's technically book 2 or book 4 for the audio version of it, but assuming that I sign on an audio version of it, which seems likely. But the audio version would be 4 books, of which the 4th book is being written now. The text version is going to be 2 books that are longer, that are like 400,000 words each. It is the current plan, anyway. Yeah, back to the thing I'm actually supposed to be working on. It's also a very memeable title. This used to be about X, where X... I get that comment a lot. This used to be about, like, giant purple dogs. Technicality. Yeah, this does need to be moved to history, so just like bump this up. And yes, I do control X, because I like to live dangerously. flesh-smithed things can leave the zone, but this is part of why we have the somewhere up there the maintenance issue. Like the more extreme things you need, like yeah, it is Cabal who took the yeah, I had that in the notes down here. I think he is a member of the Cabal. Or I'm possibly not going to explain that. I will rephrase this. Because yes. Gotta like try to keep things in line, especially like I said I am gonna edit the text, but I don't want to edit the text too much. Maybe I just like the word Cabal too much. Do you ever think about that? Should probably be whom and whom, whatever. I'm not gonna. If you use who wrong, if you use whom where you should have used who, people will get up in arms about it. If you use who where you should have used whom, no one cares. That's my rule. So the like whom distinction is dead to me. and hopefully this makes sense. This is like always the idea for it, which is you know, but the idea is that there's one in-person guy, and there's just like pieces of his body live on, and that allows them to flesh smith. And now you're probably asking yourself, would this be possible with someone else? If you tore a hunk off Doris and wove that hunk of flesh like into someone else. I'm gonna say no, that doesn't work. But it's an interesting question of whether you could like flesh smith in technical things. It's also like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting, and it's different, and I like when things are different in this very long document. Yeah, they are all products of Doris magic. I was thinking about that in the sense that Doris is a bad example, but I'm gonna say it doesn't work for like Blue in the Bottle either. You can't that it works for the flesh smithing workaround, works for flesh smithing, but not for other stuff. Kill a kill. Juniper doesn't technically kill everyone in the exclusion zone. He technically installs a new order, which is going to be part of history or features. That this is not one of those zones where what needs to happen is everyone needs to die. What needs to happen is people need to like kind of make peace with their bodies, I guess. I'm going to go use the bathroom real quick. I'm going to... and then I will be right back. I was going to try to wait until the end of this, but yeah, I'll be back in like a minute. Right, I'm back. How painfully ironic that this entry was interrupted by biological needs. Think about that. That's, I think that's ironic. Or maybe it's just apropos. um, the Fleshsmiths, I believe, like they can leave the zone, but only temporarily. What you could do is if it's the fiber itself that makes you a Fleshsmith, you could hand the fiber off to someone you trust, if you trusted someone. There's mention of a resistance group in Worth the Candle. You could hand the fiber off to someone you trust, have a mostly baseline body that didn't need much maintenance, leave the zone, get supplies, and like come back and stuff. Does not work in the period of the Empire of Common Cause because the zone is, it's not shut down, but like, I don't know. I need to think on that more. But some from the departure of the. Sorry, I'm just checking. I'm just checking early birds real quick. To make sure there's not anything I need to respond to there. There's like a lot of messages on Discord, and I always feel the compulsion to check Discord. Just to make sure there's nothing I need to respond to or add to or whatever. Mostly in early birds, because that's where today's chapter is. Make sure I haven't like made some critical continuity error or I mean, a critical continuity error would be one thing. Usually they're non-critical. Usually they're fixed with a single word change or a single line being like slightly altered. Oh yeah, gotta check if they're new loots. Always gotta check on new loots. I was thinking to myself that I might make like a list, a canonical list of 100 loots using some of the community suggestions and some of my own. And then I was like, well, how much work is that going to be? And then I was like, oh, it's going to be a lot of work. Maybe I should not do that. I have not been reading it super closely because I want to make my own loots first. I've read quite a few, but I want to make my own loots first. I don't. It's gonna be so much harder for me to make loots if I read a list of like. If I read a list of like 50 loots, it's gonna be so much harder for me to make my own good original ones. So I've been trying not to read too closely. I do check and make sure people aren't like screaming at each other or whatever. I always worry about that. But yeah, I like the puns. I like the we'll talk about the loot stuff later. Sorry, this isn't a loot stream. I actually might do a loot stream though. It wouldn't be during normal Worth the Candle Exclusions doc time, but I might do a loot stream like late at night someday or some night to just like get a list of all 100, and then I could drop a chapter and be like, hey, here are all the 100 loots. And it would be so funny. It would be so funny if they don't make it out of the dungeon. So much more funny to have this list of just like end a chapter with like, and then Alfred died, and then be like, here's a list of all the loots. That's so funny. Oh yeah, no, there's just a bunch of loots. That's all you need to know. Okay. Well, most of the creations. And here's where we need examples. Cover many structures were allowed to? Jesus Christ. Okay. Make this a new paragraph because we're going to have a few examples. DM I need to look at is just... Ooh, all Dream channels are now available to everyone on Stable Diffusion. So if you go to the Stable Diffusion Discord, you can now, don't need beta access. There's like 150 messages in the off-topic channel, and I want to read them so bad. Gotta keep writing though. So we've got the red vines. Oh, you have to reread the sentence. Maybe I will. Well, whatever. I'm gonna skip it for now, and then maybe I'll catch it later. Suck down is too colloquial. Big ass blood making thing. Coveted? Is coveted? Covered. No. Coveted. Coveted. That's... I assume that blue squiggle means it thinks I'm just using... Sorry, I'm just going to define real quick. Control-Shift-Y should just... Control-Shift-Y. Okay. Greatly desired. Yeah, that's just grammar check being, like, really, really, really dumb. Is it called City of Flesh? Did I make that up just now? City of Flesh. It says where none dare tread. That is like strictly not true because all the fleshsmiths go there. Also, if it were where none dare tread, it would be minor instead of major. Okay, I gotta double check something, which is whether whether Night Smoke. Where is Night Smoke? Is Night Smoke... Okay, it doesn't say there. Night Smoke is also minor. Okay. I think that this is minor because people do, in fact, live there, and it's just the lawlessness of it that is the threat. I think it is still correct for this to be minor. Because the threat to people is mostly the other people. I was going to say culture of lawlessness, but I think that's a specific political term that's being used now. Culture of lawlessness. I think that's like a... Oh yeah, this is like super biopunk. Would it be the only minor in Slayer of Horrors? I think it is. I think... it is. Doris Finch... Like, Doris Finch has the same problem, but, like, Doris Finch is unsolvable. Actually, let me check whether Doris Finch is major or minor. Doris Finch is major. Blue in the Bottle is minor. Yeah, these awesome, like, not quite color inverted pictures. I don't know. I don't know why this extension decided to do that. But I would love for it not to. I think I said I would try to figure it out if there's a way to have dark readers specifically not do that. But what is text stroke? Nope. You can just like... Filter plus preserves color saturation. Okay, so I'm just going to play with this real quick. No. Ugh. Oh, that's awful. Oh, I can edit this? Like, that's not... Whatever, okay, I'm not going to do that right now. But I do, like, want to fix that. I don't think I've ever seen Dark Reader do this either. Like, I love this extension. It's just, like, as soon as I started putting pictures in, I'm just like, why are you... And it's not inverting the pictures, because this is like, pink. So it's not inverting the red, it's inverting the black and the white. And maybe the blue? I don't know for sure, but, I wish that Google Docs had, like, a better dark mode. Maybe they got one. No, I don't think they did. But yeah, it's annoying specifically because I want to look up at the pictures. And the overall culture. Okay, I think I'm gonna just not... I think I'm just gonna not include a line or a paragraph about why people would come there. And I think the minor... I think the distinction of minor is fine. Like, yeah, you could come to this zone for healing because you are desperate. You could not become a flesh smith yourself, and then you could leave. This is all technically possible if you're desperate, like really, truly desperate. All right, I am going to include. Okay. No, we're going to say despite. Oh, right. Thank you. There are intermittent efforts to reform the zone through. I gotta make sure this. We did not mention the no scare and igno scare. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I use a lot of hedging phrases specifically within this document, and I should probably use less of them. It would make the writing stronger, like more impactful. Um, I think this more or less lines up with what's in the text. I don't think it's a you know, I'm going to come back to this at some point, but I like this entry, which is not that super long. I like this entry. I think this is fine. I think maybe that ending needs a little work, specifically to bring it in line with that stuff. 1,000 words over almost 2 hours. That is not... You know what? I'm going to call that 1,200 words, and that'll be fine. Okay. Am I doing the man easy? MN easy? No. Oh, I had said I was going to maybe include some of the gender stuff and Juniper's reforms. I don't think I'm going to do it in here. I think the way that the exclusionary doc wants to work with Worth the Candle is to stand as independent from it as possible. That you could read them in either order and still be fine. Manifest. I might have used MN easy. I do not have a... Oh, yes, I did. I definitely did. Million nations. Okay. Maze. Manifold has maze. Okay. Can we do Mez? No. Can we do Les? I don't think we can do Les. Oh, God. Parentheses there. Les. Pretty sure we already have a Les. Okay. Here. Yeah, this should be the Imperial City. All right. No, I mean, so we can get to 26 easies using just one letter. So no, we're 26 times 26. That's we'll be totally fine. I also find it like super funny. Like, it would be funny to go through the. I'm going to count this as done. I think there's some stuff to change at the end there. And then we say this is first pass done. Nice. Which brings us up to 38 first pass, 23 not started, plus 9 story. Which means that... That's what, 32? Manifest. But yeah, we're not going to run out of namespace too fast. What I was saying, it would be funny to go through and change the designations so that, like, in the beginning, like you could see that leading up to, like, here, they were like, yeah, we have, like, all these letter designations, and then they start being 2-letter designations later in history. Because, like... just because of the use of namespace. I think that would be funny. I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but... No, moniker is not right. So manifest is not a talker. Um, um, Lan Quan was a... Ooh, yeah, we could do that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that real quick. Here, I need to search. I should have done this before. Lan Quan. Once the Imperial City, Lan Quan. Ooh, is Lan Quan mentioned here? Second Empire experimented with soul magic. No, in fact, the answer is different. This is not... I was going to say it's not the Second Empire's fault. It's not directly the Second Empire's fault, this one. Okay, Ankja. The inner Jesh Sea and the outer. Brettigain. That's not right. Brettigain. Brett egg. I have no idea how to spell it. Does Breteg? Egg? Okay. There we go. Would you consider that west? Yes. You almost certainly would. Yeah. We do, not arson, murder, and jaywalking, the opposite of that. Two innocuous things and then a not innocuous thing. I might not have to not finish this today. I'm running out of brain juice. I'm gonna try though. Manifest wasn't excluded. Through the research into any magic was excluded in Langquan. Forge friends. Um, prognosticative. Yeah, sure. We'll do prognosticative, and we'll say it's cool. Reads a bit too ridiculous. No hope of succeeding. Is that the part that is too ridiculous? Okay, I think I'm just keeping it. I think I'm going to keep it unless I can... Well, I don't know how to turn down the delay. I think that's on Twitch's end. Because there is a delay. But you know what? Just type whatever you have. I'll keep going and I'll come back to it when I'm towards the end of this. This is not going to be a very long exclusion, I don't think. Oh, I'm going to add a to-do to myself here. Okay, I'm going to get some water, actually, and be right back. I need to think about this specific upcoming paragraph anyway, so... grab this Twitch, because yeah, a low delay mode would be great. Creator dashboard. Hamburger icon. What is a hamburger icon? Okay, maybe I should just do this later. But settings, stream. Oh, here, low latency. Okay. Did that change anything on your end? This is one of those annoying preference settings that like doesn't explain what it's doing. I've never heard it call that. Okay. All right, I'm not going to worry about it, but it should be changed. It was also one of those annoying setting things where you change a setting and then there's nothing that's like, hey, save these changes that I made or apply the changes, or it's just like a request was sent to the server and you have to hope that it works and doesn't confirm that it works, and you just got to close the page. Okay, not going to worry about it. Not going to like restart the stream or anything. I agree that the delay is annoying, and I just totally spaced that that was the thing I might be able to change. I am definitely open to changing this. One of the things I was thinking about while I was getting my water was, what does the author, like, why is the author including this? Why is the author including, like, all this stuff about how they had all these policies and procedures to make this not happen? Is the author defending the Second Empire? And I was thinking, no, the author is not trying to defend the Second Empire here. The author is trying to correct a common misperception that the manifest exclusion was a result of the Second Empire's own hubris, which is like a common Empire of Common Cause refrain. So I was just thinking about it's not going to change the text, but it's one of the things where you try to think about who is writing this and what area they're coming from, and why they're framing things in the way that they are framed. Because this the way that this is framed, this whole paragraph is framed in a way that I think is sympathetic to the Second Empire, and I just want to kind of go into why that is. I'm gonna reword the sentence. I'm going to avoid this. It is now believed. I'm going to avoid some of the hedging here, because there's a lot of hedging in the document, and I don't want to have all of it. See, why seemed there? Um, Here we say work against the city and. Can I use decap twice there? Following the debilitating. I'm gonna probably talk a little bit about what original plans for Manifest were. This is like not different from it, but okay. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this now, I guess. There was an original plan to have Reimer dream skewered into the city at the height of the Second Empire and be responsible for Manifest or to be Manifest in some form. And then Juniper shows up in the city of Manifest and gets past the mind control somehow, or maybe even, I don't know, like shows up in astral form or whatever. Or abuses that line of sight thing by having like entads and other magic wards or something. I hadn't really planned that much out, but Juniper goes there not knowing that it's like a dream skewered Reimer who had shown up and collapsed the Second Empire, and then was just like had done basically this horrible thing where he killed thousands of people and was like trying to hold things together. I didn't know what the punchline was there, which was a problem. This little bit here, this was from the AMA, I think. But that had been kind of my vague thought very early on in the story. I think at the time Manifest was first mentioned. Before the alternates were thought up, I don't know. It's hard for me to even remember the timeline, but I do remember like thinking that Reimer being there, like holding on to, like being able to unshake or not being able to shake control of these people, or knowing that he was stuck in knowing that he was stuck in this imprisoned exclusion zone and had like essentially given his life, like I don't know, I had lots of thoughts. In terms of how it reflects on Juniper, yes, it's partly this desire to just control people, to it's a lot of the like Second Empire urge to just like have people just do what you want. That's the way in which it reflects on Juniper. There was no reason for it to be Reimer though. Like it was just there as a twist for twist's sake, which I try not to do. I do like twists, but I think you need to both plan them out, which this was planned out, and you also need to pay off. Yes, the person still remains excluded. I think. I mean, like, if I needed for the story for that to work, I would probably change my answer, but story's done, and I don't need to do that, so I think they would remain excluded. I think there's a nice tragedy to that. Um, okay. Um,
I'm not going past 3 hours. I need to like take a nap before I pick my son up um, from school. It's not school, but you know. Uh, Manifest doesn't have his subjects reproduce. He could. I'm not including that because it's. I don't know. It's like a creepy rape thing that I just don't want to get into. It is implied, certainly. Or it's not implied, but it's sensible if you're amoral. I just don't want to get into it here. What's the opposite of altruistic? Is greedy, but not. That's not the right word. And here's where we use our weasel words. I think that's it for this one. I think this is I think this does leave Manifest as a little bit of a mystery. The 800 words, that is just okay. That's like 750 words is my goal for the average exclusion. Almost 2,000 words over 3 hours. That's fine. That's that's respectable. 2,000 words a day on a project that is not the main project. In the other project, I'm writing like 1,500 of prose at least. I'm gonna call that good. So still to do. We got stuff to keep going on. I'm going to pick my stuff for next time. If you have any feedback on Manifest, now would be the time. It's not. I'm not the most happy with it, but I think it is fine. This needs to have like a special designation. I'm not going to change all the data validation stuff that I so carefully did. For next time, I think we're gonna do the he doesn't really do much other than control people. I like that though. I like that he is just quietly on his own, I guess. I definitely don't think it's... Is there less horror? I think it's a more subdued horror. It is tame. Yeah. It should be added as addendum. Definitely not doing that. So this is the self-casting tarot deck. We'll do that one. And then, yeah, we'll do the Jurassic Park. It's not going to be called Jurassic Park. That's just a note for myself. Okay, so we have the excluded magic is unspecified. Are manifested people conscious? I guess it's not. It's unspecified, but I would... derivative of blue in the bottle, yes. Well, derivative if they are conscious. I think I'm going to leave it unspecified whether or not they're conscious. And then the other one is our Jurassic Park, which is psionics. Exclamation mark. I actually do think the zone is somewhat derivative of blue in the bottle, and maybe like adding it's gonna be so. It is listed in here. Detached, detached. Okay, it's a word I don't say right. This is the prompt I had given myself, and so we're gonna turn it more towards the Jurassic Park exclusion. So that'll be fine. Psionics don't have that much to do with Jurassic Park, no. And let me double check. That should be added as addendum is this actually has a name. Old Grumsh. Old Grumsh. Okay. And I'm gonna this is major, not impersoned. And then the self-casting tarot deck is not impersoned. And is that major? Yes, it is major. Okay. I'm all set up for next time. Gonna do value of cards, gonna do Old Grumsh, Psionics, and Tarot for next time. Is there anything else? Oh, Manifest Exclusion picture I wanted to take a look at. Manifest. $324. Let's see what I have for that. I do not have a picture. I think what maybe the manifest zone is missing is interesting psychological insights. Into like who Manifest is as a person, like why he would decapitate the Second Empire, and then having done that, why he would stay in control. So I have a rating for pictures here, right? I kind of want and do not have like my own internal rating for the entries. Like how good do I think they are on a scale of 1 to 10, and then I can like set a threshold for, or just do that thing where you are like, okay, what's the bottom 10% of entries? Let's take a look at them. Let's punch them up. Let's see what they're missing and stuff like that. So we'll see for Manifest. But I'm done streaming for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I will hopefully have low latency on for next stream, and then I will do these next two, and I'm going to give you 20 seconds of silence to make up for the lag, and hopefully it's not a problem next time.